My dear friends, let's put some talker. And um, I want to share with you some background to the Yom Tov, which comes up in the Shabbos. The Shabbos is the 12th day of the month of Tammuz, where we celebrate, yes, we celebrate the Chag HaGeula, the holiday, the celebration of the redemption of the previous Rebbe being freed from prison, exile. Let me give you a little bit of background. 1927, the 15th day of the month of Sivan, in the middle of the night, the previous Rebbe was taken into custody by the communist regime, and their intention was literally, Achman al-Itzlan, to do away with him. Leaders of the free world came to the Rebbe's defense and exerted heavy pressure on the then communist regime. And eventually, the death sentence was commuted to 10 years of exile, then to 3 years of, first 10 years of harsh labor, then 3 years of exile, and then on the 12th day of the month of Tammuz, short of a month after his arrest, he was freed completely. Let me share with you what Rebbe Chaim Althuis, one of the very close and trusted Chassidim of the Rebbe, writes. Just a few snippets of what he writes. And he says the following: we Chassidim, those of us who felt closest to the Rebbe, were very fearful from the beginning of the year of 1927. We had this hint, we had this feeling that things are not going to go well. On Rosh Hashanah, when the previous Rebbe was getting ready to blow the shofar, and he said the psukim, min hameitza, which means from the depth, from the straits of my heart. The previous Rebbe said loud in Yiddish, Oi Gewalt. And this came right after he said, Al yashkuni zedim, let the wicked not oppress me. We realize that the Rebbe sees it's a difficult year coming up. And indeed, it was a difficult year. Even Simchas Torah, moments of happiness, the whole evening was pervaded by a spirit of bitterness, coming from a contrite and shattered heart. Throughout the winter of 1927, heavy clouds hung over him and over all his Chassidim, though we did not know why. But the atmosphere in his home was charged with dread. Not a single day passed without an obstacle planted by the malicious band known as the Bund, the F-Sektia, the Bund 17, standing in the way of the Rebbe's superhuman single-handed efforts to keep the flame of Judaism in this darkest of times alive. They systematically demolished any vestige of Judaism, any synagogue, any yeshiva, any school, any theater, any Jewish organization, any mikveh, yeshivas, and so on. And the Rebbe single-handedly fought. They closed, he opened. They closed the mikveh, they reopened. They closed the school, he reopened. They closed the shul, he reopened. And they realized that if they want to win their battle against God, they have to get rid of God's representative on this world, which was the previous Rebbe. And in fact, as we just said earlier, he was arrested. Now, during the winter, in the month of Adar, the Rebbe took a train to Moscow to deal with matters of public concern. And Rebbe Chaim writes, I was at the train station to see him off. And the Rebbe said, a kapitel Tehillim bet nishaten, saying some Tehillim, reciting some psalms, cannot do any harm. I shuddered, he writes, when I heard those words. I realized that the Rebbe knew that he was endangering his life, but he understood that he was obligated to be prepared for literal self-sacrifice. There was no one else to do it. There was no one else he was able to rely on to keep the Jewish flame alive. And if not for him, Torah would have been forgotten completely for all the Jews who lived there. And in fact, today, now, so many years later, we see how in these places where communism has been relegated to the garbage can of history, there is a flourishing Jewish community, flourishing Judaism. And all this is thanks to those efforts of the previous Rebbe. So my friends, in preparation to the Shabbos, we pray and hope that we should not just celebrate the Chag HaGeula of then, but let us hope we'll celebrate the Chag HaGeula, the redemption of today, with Mashiach, and we will see the previous Rebbe sitting with Mashiach in the Beis HaMikdash.